What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Trapfish Aquatics. Today we're going to be talking about one of the best upgrades you can do for your hang-on back and canister filters, and that is sponge. Alright guys, so before we go getting into the sponge, I want to do something real quick, something a little different. And I'm going to feed the fish here behind me, so that way they're kind of swimming around and doing stuff while I'm talking about things. So right now I'm feeding Sarah O-Nip tabs. These little tablets come in a package like this, and they stick to your glass, so you stick them on there and the fish come up and eat on them and make a nice little bait ball, and it looks really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and feed these guys, and then we'll start talking about the sponge. So I'm just going to break this in half. Now in this tank here, this is my convict cichlid fry. There's about 70 fry in here and the one mom. So I'm just going to let that go. They're all hiding back here in the corner right now because I'm up close to the tank. And this tank up here is my guppy breeding tank. So with all the fry included, there's probably about 100 guppies in here. So getting pretty close to having a full stocking. Whoop, I dropped it. That was pretty good right there. Alright. So, sponge, right? It's one of the most versatile things that you can put in your hang-on backs. And I prefer sponge over filter floss or ceramic rings or K1 media and everything like that because of the ease of use and the cost, right? So it doesn't cost a lot and it lasts forever, so you're only ever really going to have to buy it once, and the versatility of it is beyond anything that the others can even compare to. So what do I mean by that? So basically you can take sponge and you can conform it to any shape to fill up the most amount of space, where the other ones you can't really put them in a way that they're going to conform to a space perfectly. So sponge, you can take this and you can cut it off to whatever size you need and then fill in either your canister basket or your hang-on back, right? And you cut it and get it to fit in there, and it fits the best out of all of the other medias that you could use. As far as cost, this big sheet is 24 inches by 17 inches and costs $15 on Amazon. I'll go ahead and leave the link in the description, so if you guys decide that you want to use this, you can get yourself one too. This one is 30 ppi, which ppi is pores per square inch. And if you look at the sponge right here, you can see all the little pores, right? So that's 30 ppi. And this little chunk of sponge that I have back here is 15 ppi. So you can kind of get an idea of the size difference between the pore sizes, right? Now you can get smaller than this, right? This being 30, they also sell 60 and 120, and it gets really, really fine. But in my experience, the 30 ppi, which is this sponge here, you can see I've already got a lot of it cut out. The 30 ppi really filters the water the best. It picks up a lot of the gunk and debris and also helps polish the water. But it's also not so fine that once it clogs up a little bit with a little bit of fish poop, it doesn't back the filter up and the filter overflows. This size really does leave it so that it doesn't restrict the flow super bad, but it also makes it so it polishes and cleans the water very well. And in my opinion, it's one of my favorite sponges that I've purchased so far. So I use it in a lot of my hang-on backs right now. I use it up here in the guppy tank. I also use it in this tank right here. I've got it in the 75-gallon native tank that's currently running. And I also have it on my axolotl tank and in my cherry barb tank. All of those filters are running this sponge, which is why this big chunk is missing, because I wanted to make sure that this stuff worked properly and it was a good product before I went ahead and told you guys about it and recommended it. So in my opinion, this sponge is an excellent, excellent product for the money. Like I said, 15 bucks gives you 24 by 17 inches and 2 inches thick. And if you're going to use it on a hang-on back, which is why I bought this, you just cut it to size, take this, stick it in the hang-on back, replace that cartridge filter, right? And by doing that, you're going to increase your biological capabilities by 2 to 3 times as much as what the cartridge would normally hold. Right? Same thing with canisters. I have my Fluval 406 canister that I run. All of the media baskets are filled with this sponge. Just cut it out to the basket size, stick it in there, get as much in those baskets as you can, and then go ahead and set it up and run it. And really the only ones that get super dirty are the first ones. All of the other ones just hold all the beneficial bacteria and never really get super dirty. So you don't really have to clean those as much. When it comes time to clean it, you just take it, wring it out in some tank water. Or if you're lucky enough to have well water, you could do that too. Most people frown upon that, but I am guilty of rinsing mine out in the tap water because I have well water and have never seen any ill effects from it. So there's that. But this is what I use in all of my canisters and hang-on backs. It's an excellent, excellent product. I highly recommend it to you guys. So a couple other things that this sponge could really, really be used for is replacing the sponge on sponge filters. So not necessarily the big ones, but the little double-side ones, like this one right here, these little guys, right? You can take this and cut a piece off and then put a little slit in it and slide it down over that. It increases the pore size over the factory size of those sponge. The factory size on those sponge is probably closer to the 120 ppi. And so this is going to help increase the flow a little bit, as well as it's still going to filter the water just as well. And then another thing that you can use this for is for matin filters. Now, what a matin filter is, it's essentially a sponge filter, but it sections off a little piece of your tank, so you can either do it where it fully divides a section of your tank off, and then it becomes the filtration area, or you can do it like a weir on a tank that is drilled for overflows, to where it sections off a corner of the tank, and then you essentially just have a pipe running with an air line in it, and it works like a sponge filter, but it is a matin filter. The surface area on a matin filter is very, very high, and they do an excellent job at filtering water. You know, essentially the same as a sponge filter, but it works a little bit better because there's more media there. So go ahead and leave a comment down below. Let me know what you guys use in your canisters and hang-on backs, if you just use the little cartridge system, or if you go ahead and upgrade it to something like sponge like this. And yeah, that's about it for this video. Thank you guys for watching Try Fish Aquatics. Go get yourself some sponge.